Well, hello everyone. I'm meteorologist Charlie Neese, and want to update you on what's going on. You might have seen some posts on the hail that is coming into Middle Tennessee or to the Franklin area, really across Williamson County, and it looks like we've had lots of reports of golf ball size hail here at my location. It is hailing now. So far, I've seen about penny size, but I can hear it's about to get a lot bigger. Likely this storm is really strong. So let me zoom into it, and it is hitting the side of my window right now. But we've had reports of up to golf ball sized hail with this as it's been pushing across Middle Tennessee. So let's take a closer look here and show you where the worst of the weather is. It's right here coming. This is Fairview. This is Franklin. In the areas of purple here, that's where the hail is starting. So here's Highway 96 and the intersection of Old Hillsborough Road. That's where, near there is where I know confirmed hail is falling. This is in the Leapers Fork area, so this is Old Hillsborough Road. And then as you get down toward Parker Branch, that's where we're seeing some of the biggest hail right now. Severe thunderstorm warning does continue for this area. And that's going to move along Highway 96. So West Haven, you are in the path of large hail anywhere along Highway 96. Right now it extends back from this intersection right here. That is Old Hillsborough Road, Highway 96, and then back all the way to Leapers Fork. There's a lot of hail falling. And it looks like it's up to about nickel size where I am, but it's getting bigger and starting to fall heavier. Let's see, other locations too. So golf ball sized hail is being reported at Old Harding and Old 96. That's Fernvale. That's in the Fernvale area. So that is, man, the hail is huge. West Haven, if you are in West Haven, you pull the cars in now to the garage because it is about to start hailing heavily if it's not already. It's already moving into the western edge here of the western edge. This is right in this area here where we're seeing right there. That is West Haven. That collection of streets that you see right here, that's West Haven. So this is all hail. And that is extremely large hail right along Old Hillsborough Road and Parker Branch Road. That is going to move. This is Boyd Mill Pike. It is moving along Boyd Mill and is coming into West Haven. After it goes through West Haven, it's going to affect neighborhoods like Founders Point, Franklin Green, Willow Springs, Boyd Mill Estates. It looks like it's going to come right into downtown Franklin. If that core does not go away, we are going to see that hail move right into that area. There's also a little bit of hail back over Prim Springs area, moving east. In addition to that, there's still the potential for some gusty winds because this storm is also rotating right through here. There is no tornado warning. There is a severe thunderstorm warning for it, no tornado warning, but it does have some rotation. So if you are in Franklin, you just need to be hunkered down, letting this storm pass, and hopefully you've been able to get your car in a safe spot where it's going to be out of this hail. Just taking a look at some information coming in from the National Weather Service as to what's going on with this. But most of Middle Tennessee, at least the northern half of Middle Tennessee, is under a tornado watch right now. And this Storm Prediction Center also is monitoring our area for another wave of thunderstorms that would be moving in as we go into the nighttime hours tonight. So let's see here. This is going to be, we've seen multiple waves. We saw one wave of severe thunderstorms this morning that moved through northern Middle Tennessee. You can see the line of thunderstorms extends from Macon County, Trousdale County, Pickett County, around Byrdstown, down through Lebanon. But by far the strongest thunderstorm is this thunderstorm through West Haven. It's already affecting Franklin Green, Boyd Mill Estates. It's moving into downtown Franklin right now with hail at least the size of pennies up to quarter size. But I think in the brightest areas right here around Twin Oaks, around the Williamson County Soccer Complex there on Downs Boulevard, there could be hail up to close to golf ball size that's falling there. We're moving east into downtown Franklin. So if you live east of Franklin, if you live east of downtown, if you live out toward Ewingville or Hill Estates, out by the Kroger on Highway 96, if you live near Royal Oaks on Highway 96, near that intersection, that hail is likely going to be pushing right through your area. And it has had a history of being very, very large. And again, in addition to that, this cell, it's got a hook on it. You might hear some of the thunder in the background. It's got a hook on it, no tornado warning with it, but it is rotating. It's also kind of swallowing up a cell that you saw here, this little cell that developed ahead of it. And sometimes that can disrupt the flow. Sometimes that can help strengthen these storms. So severe thunderstorm warning for Davidson County. That is for this storm. Most of that cell is likely going to stay south of you in Williamson County. I'm sure what they're going to do is they're going to issue a new severe thunderstorm warning that's going to include much of Williamson County, maybe even the eastern part or western part of Rutherford County. Earlier, I think the Weather Service, the way this warning is lined up, they thought it was kind of going from southwest to northeast. It's moving pretty much now due east. And so they're going to have to stretch that warning out to the east in eastern Williamson County. But where you see the purple there is now, so fortunately you can see that hail signature kind of shrinking. It's still there. It's still getting hail in Franklin, but perhaps not quite as large as it was earlier when it was back over Boyd Mill Pike and back over Leapers Fork. Let's see what the Weather Service is kind of talking about here. There was golf ball size hail reported in West Haven. So what's left of that is going through Franklin. And again, if it continues on that current track, I mean, it is right in the middle of downtown Franklin. So it's going to go out east. It's going to go, as you go east out of Franklin, downtown Franklin, you're going to go around Liberty Pike, in between Liberty and Highway 96, Murfreesboro Road on the east side of Franklin. That's where that hail signature is moving. That would be, again, the Ford dealership, the Lincoln dealership there, also the Kroger and the Kroger shopping center, South Royal Oaks and Highway 96, the interchange of I-65. And if it continues, it'll end up going over areas like Darrell Waltrip dealership, and we'll have to watch that and see. But it's not quite as defined. It's not quite as big, but we did have reports, a confirmed report of golf ball size hail. This is West Haven, right in the West Haven area. So now it's getting a lot of cloud to ground lightning strikes with us too. So the core is going through downtown Franklin now, and then we'll go pushing next in line 96 near the intersection of 96 and Interstate 65. Let's see what any more reports. Dime to pea-sized hail in other areas. 3-inch hail on Boyd Mill Pike. That is bigger than golf balls. So caused significant damage to trees on Boyd Mill Pike. And that, when I came on, that's where that core was really pushing across. There's actually more hail in this area. So Wilkins Branch, and it looks like it might be trying to pick back up, but Wilkins Branch, and then that's going to be crossing Old Hillsborough Road right on the north side of Leapers Fork as well, near the intersection of South Hall and Old Hillsborough Road. Now, again, it's kind of shifting and changing, but that's the hail core right there. And that's going to be moving toward West Haven as well. Doesn't look like that one's as big. Now the hail is really trying to fall apart now as it's moved through Franklin. So you've gotten some hail in downtown Franklin. Man, we're getting There's a lot of cloud to ground lightning with this. So as it's moving eastward, but that hail, I'm getting hail again in my location. A lot of heavy rain, very heavy rain. The hail core that was moving over Franklin continues to fall apart. Fortunately, that's good news, but we're still seeing a little bit of hail right at the Kroger. I'm seeing hail again from this area back here. So there's still hail with this storm, even though, so that this storm is strengthening, I'll tell you that. Leapers Fork had at least golf ball size hail. This storm is strengthening. Is the updraft is really trying to get going back in here, back in this area right in here, where there might be some new rotation trying to develop. But this is just a severe thunderstorm warning for a storm with large confirmed hail. We've had reports of golf ball size hail in West Haven, had reports of at least golf ball, maybe between golf ball and baseball in the Leapers Fork area. It did a lot of tree damage just from the hail falling through the leaves along Boyd Mill Pike. I'm going to take a look at the velocity data with this. Still has some broad rotation with it. Nothing too tight that would cause immediate concern. And again, for downtown Franklin, now that the hail core is over by the Kroger on Highway 96 on the east side of the Murfreesboro Road side of downtown, there's still a little bit of hail possible in and around West Haven and Founders Point, and then another small area of hail that's coming across Natchez Trace right now, moving toward Parker West. Right now it's over Parker Branch, near the intersection of Parker Branch and Old Hillsborough Road, a little bit of hail there too. So anywhere you see those purple areas, that's where we're seeing the potential for the hail. Look at all the lightning with this as well. So let me zoom back out, put this into motion. So if you live east of Franklin, the next up in line for this storm is Rutherford County. So let me see, they're going to severe thunderstorm warning for Rutherford County continues. So they've already got the northeastern corner of Rutherford County in this warning. That's right in here around Smyrna. But I feel pretty certain they're going to issue a severe thunderstorm warning farther south, kind of in this outlined area here. That should be coming here in the next few minutes. But quite a storm, quite a storm. Hopefully you didn't have hail damage at your place. I'm still getting some small hail where I am, and extremely heavy rains that will cause ponding on roads. Probably about dime to nickel sized hail, and in my location, that's going to be back in through here. Oh, it's getting big again. It's pounding my roof. This has been an interesting spring. I've been through a couple of waves of hail already. I mean, it is extremely large hail. Now, when I say extremely large, it's at least it's nickel to quarter size hail falling now. That's going to come back through the West Haven area as well. So, let's see. Yeah, getting some other reports of hail as well. Looks like in downtown Franklin from a few minutes ago. Significant hail is falling. At least nickel, maybe quarter size, and maybe a few pieces that are a little bit bigger than that. We'll see if that hail core kind of brightens up in this area here in a minute. Very heavy rain with some hail mixed in downtown Franklin, but the biggest part of that hail core that tracked through Leapers Fork and then across West Haven with the golf ball size hail, that's pushed off toward the east. I just got a video of hail falling. I don't know how well you can see that. That's hail falling from Steve Chandler he had 5 minutes of hail in downtown Franklin. So that hail doesn't look too big, but it was large enough to just about cover the ground as it moved through downtown Franklin. So fortunately, even though we're still getting some very heavy rain and some small hail mixed in now, the biggest hail threat is off to the east, on the east side of Franklin, and isn't likely seeing golf ball like it was earlier, but you are going to be seeing some hail that's about to move where Clovercroft Road and Wilson Pike intersect there on the east side of Franklin into Brentwood, where really along Clovercroft Road, McEwen, east side of the southern part of Cool Springs, and then off into Brentwood section there. That'll move along Clovercroft as it pushes off toward the east. So right now, some of that hail is near right in the intersection of Harwick Drive and Brewster Drive, sorry. This is just on the south side of Liberty Pike, on the east side of Franklin. And then, of course, you have Clovercroft and Wilson Pike. That's a pretty big intersection there in Brentwood. So that's where the hail is going over now. Just not as large as it was, but you're seeing some at least dime-sized hail there. Let's see what lots and lots of reports of hail. Jim Warren Park had close to golf ball size hail, and I probably had close to golf ball size hail just west of there. Let's see. Yeah, the one that was falling in downtown Franklin is that area was kind of shrinking. That's when it started turning from golf ball size down to about gumball size, according to Steve Chandler, who was sending me the video, my brother-in-law. So you can see here too, they did issue that warning south, which I mentioned they probably would be doing. And that's moving toward Murfreesboro. Let's take a look at the camera from the Rutherford County EMA as that storm is approaching from the west. Skies are darkening, and that's going to be coming through there in the next 30 to 45 minutes. You'll start to see the worst of that weather come through. This storm it's got a hook on it. It's rotating. It's not strong enough for the Weather Service to do a tornado warning. Fairview had up to close to baseball size hail too, along outside of Fairview, Prim Springs, so Pinewood Road runs between Fairview and Leapers Fort. So in that area, there were some big, almost baseball size hail reports there. But once the rain stops, there's really nothing back to the west that would be pushing through. And you can see this area, the highlight of the other counties here. Those are, that's a severe thunderstorm, tornado watch that's in effect. Now the threat is, let me show you, let's take a look at what the computer models are doing for the rest of today. So as we go through the rest of today, we get a little bit of a break this evening. This is at 8 o'clock this evening, but you can see more thunderstorms building back to the north and west. And then that comes through, it's just beyond, let's take a look at the 18. See. So what we've got now continues to push off toward the east. Then a new line develops. This is at 11 p.m. There's our next wave. And then it comes through around 1 a.m., hopefully in a weakening phase, but still could be some strong to severe thunderstorms with that. And then that pushes through. And once that goes through, then we're in pretty good shape as we head into the next couple of days. We've got cooler, drier air that's going to be pushing in. Temperatures will be in the 70s. Once we get to about Tuesday, highs will be between 75 and 80. And we'll also be having low humidity Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But until then, this is another wave of thunderstorms. There will be one final wave that comes through later tonight into the early morning hours of Memorial Day. So I'm going to take a look at the velocity data to see. Yeah, see, it's still rotating right here. That rotation just crossed Interstate 65 and near Long Lane. So this is going over Ladd Park and the Ag Center, pushing off toward the east. Right now, no, it's not strong enough. It's broad enough that there's no tornado warning with it, but certainly could be some strong winds down around the Ag Center right now, around Ladd Park, and then out Long Lane, and then when Long Lane dead ends into Goosey Hill Road and eventually over toward Arno Road, that's where the rotation is going to be passing. This is an area that has not seen any rainfall today, so that the atmosphere there is pretty ripe to maintain at least the strength of this storm. But that is a supercell thunderstorm, similar to what we saw during the event that caused the Columbia tornado. Not that storm is going to do that, but this is a supercell thunderstorm that has developed. The line that it was originally in is kind of breaking apart and falling apart. So now you have, this is called a tail end Charlie, ironically. And sometimes when you see the storms on the very ends of lines break apart, they don't have to fight with this other cells for strength. They have a good clean inflow of warm, moist air from the south. And in this case, it has not been worked over by the environment, by all the rain that happened a little earlier today. This thunderstorm, you're going to have to watch carefully as it goes out of Williamson County and into Rutherford County. Murfreesboro, even though it's just a severe thunderstorm warning now, I'm telling you, you got to watch that storm, because that is in an environment. Well, let's see what the environment is ahead of it. So we've got some of the air that's been flowing out of that has actually helped to cool the air down just a little bit ahead of it. So it's 71 degrees there where that camera is, and that's going to help. It's better than being 80 degrees or above. Let's take a look again. The storm is back over here coming in this direction. So we'll watch that. But anyway, this storm, it's got the notch. It's a supercell. And now the hail is redeveloping. The large hail is redeveloping, and it's redeveloping along between Clovercroft and Highway 96. In that area in between Chester Stevens Road, Mueller Street, Woodcrest Court, and let me tell you, if you live near that Clovercroft and Wilson Pike intersection, you're going to be seeing it moving in with the hail. Farmhouse Drive, that entire subdivision, Fairbanks Street, that is where you're going to see the large hail, and that large hail is going to head now. After that, it will head to Chase Point Drive. It's actually there now. Man, that is big hail again. You're getting at least likely golf ball size hail along Wilson Pike, right there in Trinity. Guy Farrell Road, you're getting some really big hail, and that's continuing along Wilson Pike. And then the next in line for this large hail is going to be Molly Hollow Road. And then next after that, it's going to be, trying to read it, into, it's like Magger Mountain Road over in there. If you know those areas, we're talking the eastern part of Williamson County here, outside of Nolensville. But that is large hail that is redeveloped. So that storm is strengthening. When the hail kind of weakened as it passed over Franklin, now it's strengthening again. That updraft is strengthening. That's when you get the hail that starts to ramp back up, that rotation, that strong notch, that inflow that's really clean, unworked over air pushing up into that storm. Let's take a look at the velocity. Fortunately, though, that rotation is still kind of broad. It's not tight. So right now, the tornado threat is relatively low, but that's going to be a storm that has to be watched. Heavy hail damage to vehicles on Pinewood Road near Leapers Fork. So when you go through Leapers Fork on Old Hillsborough Road, you pass Leapers Fork Market, turn right on Highway 46 or Pinewood Road. That cuts you over to Highway 100 in Fairview. So on the Leapers Fork side, near the Natchez Trace Bridge, over Pinewood Road, and then as you go up the ridge there, between there and the Williamson County landfill, looks like there was a lot of big hail damage in that area, with windows being knocked out and that sort of thing from hail. Let's see, I've got another. This is from Trey Hoppy in Franklin. That was some hail that was reported in Franklin. So that's the kind of stuff that you've seen from this storm, and that's what you've got coming. That's what you've got coming now on the east side of Franklin, moving into Nolensville with that purple. So this area is now right over Nolensville Road, Highway 31A, and it is going to be passing also across McCandless Road. If you live in that area, if you live near and just east, near the intersection of McCandless and Beulah Church Road, you are going to be seeing some big hail moving in the next few minutes. So supercell thunderstorm continues to push off toward the east. To me, it looks like it's getting stronger. Updraft is getting healthier and healthier. Franklin High School had very large hail with this storm as it moved east. West Haven, a lot of hail. It looks like it almost covered the ground in some spots in West Haven. So that has been the big story with this cell. And again, we're going to get a break once this pushes east. We're going to get a break. There's nothing back to the west immediately, and it's going to be later on this evening into tonight. And our final wave of big thunderstorms will be moving through with this system. But right now, eastern Williamson County, east of Franklin, I can tell you that West Haven, Leapers Fork, to the south along South Hall Road, along Carter's Creek Road, back toward Kingfield, back toward Fairview, you are out of the woods. Once this storm passes your location, it's pretty much done. If you're ahead of it, you're ahead of it along Nolensville Road. You're ahead of it on Rocky Fork Road. You're ahead of it in Almaville. That's what's coming in your direction, is hail that looks something like that and is large enough to break windows and that sort of thing. So be prepared. That storm also is rotating. It's just not, the rotation is not, oh, okay, here we go, folks. That rotation is strengthening. I told you this storm is strengthening. I could just tell by the, once you see a big uptick in hail like that, that means the updraft is starting to strengthen again, and the hook was starting to strengthen again. This is at 840 in Triune. That is very close to the castle. That's very close to the Renaissance Festival. That is strong rotation that has developed, or much stronger than it was a minute ago, over the Patterson area. So I would not be surprised if we have a tornado that's trying to develop right here, right in this area. So I'll have to watch that very carefully. Let me see if there's anything suspicious showing up in the correlation coefficient. I don't necessarily think so at the moment. But this storm is tightening. The rotation is tightening. It's a traditional, it's turned into a traditional supercell thunderstorm. There's your tightening rotation moving toward Murfreesboro. Murfreesboro. Let's take a look at the storm from the camera. That's it right there in the distance. Coming in, you can see the heavy rain on covering the ridge there. Murfreesboro, though, you need to be prepared for this storm. Even if it's not producing a tornado, right now we just have a severe thunderstorm warning. But that rotation is strengthening, and it's going to go right very close to downtown Murfreesboro. So there it is. There's the rotation. Downtown Murfreesboro. This storm is coming in along Highway 96 and is going to be blowing into town. It's going to be coming right into the west side of Murfreesboro. So let's take a look at it on the, there's the velocity data. Let me take one more look on the correlation coefficient. There's kind of a lot of noise in here right now. It's hard to see, but I'm going to be watching this camera as this comes in. The storm is back, the worst of it would be back on the left side of the screen there. And this is from the Rutherford County EMA. Going to watch that carefully because I'd say there's a likely, let's see. Okay, here's what the Weather Service is now saying. Let me read to you what they're saying. Weather Service has said, we've had many reports of large hail. We're watching the tornado potential closely. It is moving into a better environment that hasn't been impacted by the earlier storms. We were talking about that just a few minutes ago. Radar depiction shows velocities where you would expect them to be with a potential tornadic couplet. In other words, we have they have side lobing. So anyway, the hail is creating some signatures. The hail is creating some signatures that look like really, really strong rotation. Based on the way that this looks, though, they are watching it very carefully for the potential for a tornado. The hail can cause this signature called side lobing when the hail gets as big as it is, and sometimes that can look like strong rotational winds. I mean, it's definitely rotating. But as I play this, you can see how it kind of brightened up really fast right there. And that could be a sign of that side lobing. So there's your rotation. It's rotating. But, and they're watching it very carefully for the potential for a tornado. But right now they're going to hold off on issuing a warning. But man, if you just look at that's a hook echo, strong hook echo. And let's see what the weather's doing down south. Yeah, see, there's 83-degree air south of here in Chapel Hill. This is south of where the storms are going on. So you've got 80-degree air just to the south that's feeding into this storm. And even though it's a little cooler because of outflow here, if that sensor is right in Murfreesboro, it's still, the atmosphere is certainly one that you're going to have to very carefully watch. Let's see. So looking at some more information coming in. By the way, on the back side of this cell, as it comes through Franklin, after it came through Franklin, we're getting sunshine back in here right now. There'll be some breaks in the clouds. So that's going to potentially set us up for warming a little bit more before the last wave comes through. So let's see one more time. Radar depiction is not good for velocities. Yeah. So here's your big hail along Highway 96 and along 840. It's going to go into Murfreesboro, so you're going to have some large hail potential here in Murfreesboro next up. KC subdivision, Franklin Road Estates in Murfreesboro, Oakwood, the hospital, and then it's going to cross Interstate 24 and go right into the north side of downtown, it appears. Still a massive storm here, rotating as it pushes off toward the east, continuing to show signs of at least some very large hail and some some broad rotation with it. Let's take another look here. Should be getting a better view here soon. You see the very heavy rains with it right in through here. And still to the west is where the biggest part of the storm is. So it's going to be, it's passing south of the center of Nolensville. Franklin, you're in the clear now. Fairview, you're in the clear. Prim Springs, Leapers Fork, all those areas are in the clear as it's moving off toward the east. And that you've got at least golf ball size hail in at least a small area here along Highway 96 and coming up on Old Almaville Road and Shores Road and along 840 here. That is a rough commute along 840 right now at the Almaville exit. And there's your hook that's coming in. Let's see, there's a new, yeah, so broad rotation with it still. Fortunately, looks like there was some hail contamination, making it look like the rotation was really strengthening, and it's still there, but it's broad and not tightening up. So there's your picture from Murfreesboro. Worst of the weather's coming in from the west here. And let's see. And it's already starting to, they've had hail, some small hail in Arrington. And they're getting a lot of thunder, continuous thunder in Murfreesboro with this. So ugly looking storm, has a history of hail damage and maybe some wind damage on top of that. It was hailing so hard as this pushed through Pinewood, well, really from Bonacqua to Fairview to Pinewood to Leapers Fork to Boyd Mill Pike to West Haven before the hail core started to kind of shrink and fall apart and the hail got smaller. A lot of damage, though, was done where we were seeing golf ball and bigger sized hail. And sometimes when it gets that big, you get these spikes that go along with it. So kind of ugly, nasty, spiky hail that can do a lot of damage. And so there were some car windows broken out not too far from the intersection of Old Hillsborough Road and Pinewood Road on the south side of Leapers Fork, and then headed off back to the west toward Fairview. So this storm has a history of producing that, and it is producing large hail again right around Almaville, right? The Almaville exit, next in line is going to be Veterans Parkway. So that's a big interchange there. That's Interstate 840 and Veterans Parkway. There's a lot of new construction and condos all through here and single family homes. Berkshire, Cavendish Lane. These are all subdivisions through here that are off also of Brinkley Road and Blaze Drive. That's where the hail is going to be going. The KC subdivision, Franklin Road Estates, and then it's going to cross Interstate 24 near Medical Center Parkway, and then the St. Thomas Rutherford Hospital. That's where that hail is going to go, right through there. The rotation is down to the south, so you could see some gusty winds right in here. And we'll take a look at the rotation. Still pretty much looks the same as it has. It's there. It's broad, pushing off toward the east. So let's take a look at the camera again. Oh, okay. So, I mean, that is moving into western parts of Murfreesboro. I can't tell. That's a lowering. So what it looks to be is a lowered wall cloud under that rotation. You got the heavy rain. I'll show you. The heavy rain is right here, and so this is probably underneath the hook, and so that's a wall cloud, but no funnel, and that's where your hail is up in here. So no tornado with it yet, or no tornado with it. It is broadly rotating, and there's your lowering that you often see underneath what would produce a tornado if we were able to hold together. Again, this is Rutherford County. This is Murfreesboro. This is from the Rutherford County EMA office. And just to give you a little perspective, so here's downtown Murfreesboro, and the office is off of New Salem Highway, near West Malloy Lane and New Salem Highway, right in there. So it's just on the east side of Interstate 24. So that's where and what you're looking back into this, which is where that rotation is. And so you would expect to see what you're seeing with that, and that is a lowering, a wall cloud, but doesn't look like it's producing a tornado at this point. Let's see. A lot of this is your hail core. This is a lot of heavy rain through here. You're lowering. But fortunately, the rotation is, even though that's a nasty looking signature or picture there, that lowering, that wall cloud at the base of the mesocyclone, the rotation right now does not look to be like it's tightening up. I mean, it is there. That's it. That's the rotation right there. So you're looking from this camera back here. So that rotation is moving over Windrow Road. This is on the west side of Interstate 24. And let's take a look at the reflectivity too. Yeah, so you're looking at that notch right in through here. And I mean, that's it. That's a wall cloud right there. Lots of heavy rain right there. The clear slot right back here. And so that's heavy rain and hail right all through there. And that's what you're looking back into right through here. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Fortunately, right now the rotation is not strong enough to produce a tornado. And you know, like during the Columbia event, you could look at the wall cloud and you could actually see it rotating on the camera. It might be, you don't see that same turning like you did with the Columbia storm. So moving into Franklin Estates, Highway 96, it's going to come right over the Sam's Club off the interstate here and just push right into Murfreesboro, similar to what it did in Franklin. So it's not quite as concentrated as it was earlier. Like this was big hail as it was a little farther out to the west, but it looks like the hail core is kind of breaking up and may hold off and reform to the east. Let me see what the Weather Service is saying. Flash flood warning for Williamson County for radar indicated between 1/2 inch and 1.5 inches of rain has already fallen through Williamson County. So look out for that. So so while we're watching this, and again, it's losing some of its characteristic. It's super organized look to it. It's kind of breaking up, and that might be partially a factor that it's moving into air that's only about 70 degrees, whereas had it moved down a little farther to the south and developed here, it's 86 degrees in Chapel Hill. Shelbyville right now is 87 degrees, and north side of Columbia is 91 degrees. So we're going to have to watch any kind of cell that like this that kind of develops out ahead of it, or anything that develops down in here. But the fact that this is moving into air that's already been not rain cooled directly because it hasn't really rained, but it's outflow from the storms that developed earlier that have cooled Murfreesboro down to just a little over 71 degrees. That's probably helping to keep the strength of that storm at bay and may help to weaken it a little bit. But it's going that boundary between the really warm air to the south here and the rain in the outflow boundary where the cooler air is here, any storm that develops along that boundary like this could continue to be strong to severe. And you can see it's actually got a little bit of a southeast movement now. So it's actually riding along that front. So as it moves out of Rutherford County into Cannon County and areas to the east, Warren County, those are going to have to be areas that are going to have to be watched. So, but I'm going to end the live stream here in just a moment Even you've got the hail that's coming into downtown Murfreesboro. It's not as big as it was a little earlier, but quarter-size hail is going to be possible in downtown Murfreesboro. The rotation is strong. The storm is starting to kind of it's changing shape. That it's having a hard time dealing with that rain-cooled air. So they just issued a new severe thunderstorm warning for Murfreesboro all the way to Woodbury. That's where that storm is going to go, with a continued potential for large hail. But let me read you something before I go, because this is for the storms that will be coming in later tonight, because this is not the last of the storms. I want to make that clear. This is not the last of the storms. So here's what the Weather Service is saying. The Storm Prediction Center has upgraded our area to a moderate risk of storms. And let me show you what I'm talking about real quickly. So our area, or at least the northwestern corner of our area, has been upgraded to a moderate risk, and it includes Nashville, Franklin, and areas to the north and west. And that looks like that, where that red area is. So that is a level 4 out of 5 risk for severe weather. And that is an upgrade. And that is not for this risk of these storms moving through now. That is for a risk for tonight. But here's what the Weather Service is saying. The moderate risk is primarily for wind potential and significant gusts of potentially 70 to 80 miles an hour. And I'll show you. They are putting we have about a 10% to 15% chance in the areas in yellow and red. And you can see Tennessee is right there. So, but the wind threat, we have a 45% chance within 25 miles of any one point of seeing wind damage tonight. Significant wind damage. So they're talking about winds of 70 to 80 miles an hour with the line potential tonight. There could be spin up tornadoes within the line as well. So what they're saying is still expecting a significant line of thunderstorms to move through Middle Tennessee during the overnight hours. Winds will be the primary threat, but cannot rule out isolated tornadoes. Hail will also be a threat, and it is possible that we could see some storms. Any storm that develops out ahead of that line, those could be significant, kind of like what we're seeing in Murfreesboro right now. So one more look at the velocity data. Yeah, the rotation is not nearly as confined as it was, but we are still seeing hail. The hail is coming across Interstate 24 at Old Fort Parkway, and is going to be moving through around again the hospital and Bridge Avenue. There it is. It just updated. Man, that's big hail going across Interstate 24. Let's see. Oh, that should be going over the camera. Let's take a look, see what it looks like on the camera. I'm not moving the camera. That's the EMA. But they're scanning kind of the skies. But there's hail falling at this camera right now, just on the southwest side of downtown. So there's large hail that's falling in here. Temperature dropped again. So that is large hail crossing Interstate 24 going into downtown Murfreesboro. That, I'll tell you, that's large enough to do some damage. Make sure your cars are parked in the garage as this is pushing across. It is still rotating, but the rotation is not as strong as it was, and that's going to continue to be the biggest threat from that storm as it moves through Murfreesboro. And then here is the way that the computer models are forecasting what's going to be happening a little later on tonight. I'll just put this into motion. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This is at 1 o'clock in the morning. That's potentially a significantly severe line of thunderstorms coming in from the north and the west. Any of these cells that develop ahead of it could be strong to severe. So, and then that pushes to the south. And then once that goes through, we're pretty much done with the risk for severe weather, fortunately. So we'll keep you updated. Continue to watch for updates on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and X. And make sure that if you're in Murfreesboro, just get your cars in the garage as that storm passes to the east. A history of up to golf ball and larger sized hail with that storm as it's been moving to the east. I'll continue to keep you updated here on MiddleTennesseeWeather.com.